the volume of spheres. There's a formula for the volume of a sphere. I'm going to show you where it came from. It's a bit confusing. You're not going to have to memorize where this came from, but I'll give you some sort of explanation where it is. We'll practice some problems on how to do these. It's not that difficult to do, but you got to know the formula. So this is a formula that you're going to end up having to study. It is 4 pi times the radius cubed divided by 3. That's the volume of a sphere. You'll notice there's like 3 different parts of this that look similar to things that we've already done, right? I know it's not pi times the radius squared, it's pi times the radius cubed, but you guys see that? That's very similar to what? The area of a circle, right? And then the 4 times that, what's that like? That's like surface area. And then the divided by 3, that's like the volume of a pyramid, isn't it? So it's like kind of like this weird mix of all of these formulas together. I'm going to show you kind of where it comes from. We're not going to listen to the audio of this video because this person has the most boring voice of all time, and they go into way more detail than what we need. But the animation of it's kind of like they do a good job animating it. So what we have here is the sphere. And what we're going to imagine with this sphere is that we're going to take it and we're going to like cut it up into a bunch of pieces. So see how they're like cutting up the sphere, and they're going to take that sphere and cut it into a bunch of little pyramids. You guys see all the little pyramids that they cut it up into? Right, so they take like all of these pyramids, and there's like an infinite amount of these little pyramids. Now, don't worry about all the numbers that they put on there. We'll just talk about what all these little pyramids are, right? So in this pyramid here, let's talk about the outside of this pyramid. You guys see that see the little like square part? You put all of those squares together. You guys see that? What part of the sphere is that? We talked about it last Friday. What is it? It's the surface area of the sphere, right? So the surface area of the sphere is pi times, and you don't need to write this part down, but that's 4 pi times the radius squared, right? So all of that is the surface area. That is how many of these triangles we end up having. You see that? That's how many of those triangles we have. Right? That's all, or pyramids that we have. All right, so now it just shows you all of those pyramids. What's the formula for the area of a pyramid? The volume of a pyramid. We just did it. It's the base times the height divided by 3. So that's where the divided by 3 comes from. The base ends up being this, the circle, the pi times the radius squared. And then what you'll notice, the height of these is the radius of the circle. Let's see if they have a spot where they show you that a little bit better. I don't know if they do. But you could see like they went by pretty fast. I'll try to pause it here. So see, as it's like going in, all of those little pyramids, they all meet in the center of the circle. So the height of that pyramid is the radius. So in our formula, it's like we have all of this, and then you multiply it by the radius. That's why it's to the radius, to the 3rd power. Now, again, you're not going to need to memorize that, but I show you that to help you learn this formula, how it's like a combination of a circle and the surface area and a pyramid all together. I don't know if that's actually going to help you memorize it or not. In the end, you need to know that formula. So like if we get to the problem, this is what happens sometimes on the test. It's the volume of a sphere, and like a student raises their hand, they're like, well, how do I find the volume of a sphere? I ask, well, what's the formula? And they say, well, I don't know the formula. And I tell them, well, you're going to get it wrong then. I don't know what else to tell you. That's the formula. We'll make sure we know how to do these then. All right, we're going to find a surface area. We'll do an example. Again, we're going to save the pi till the very, very end. Let's change colors so we can see it. We'll have a sphere. I'm going to give you the diameter. The diameter we'll say is 18 inches. In our work, it's going to tell us to round to the nearest whole. And all we're going to do is start writing out our formula. Volume equals 4 pi times the radius. Oh, man. Oh, you guys are good. 9. Now, it's not 9 squared. It's 9 to the third power. Yeah, cubed is what we call it. That is the most common mistake. Students just by habit will do it to the second power, not the third power. And then you get all of that and divide it by 3. If you have a calculator, take it out and do this with me. The first thing we need to do is the exponent. 9 to the third power. A lot of calculators have a button that helps you get to the third power. Honestly, it's not worth the hassle. Just do 9 times 9 times 9. 3 nines. 9 times 9 is 81. Times 9 is 729. So that's going to be the next line. 4 pi times 729 divided by 3. Now we're going to multiply the 4 and the 729. 4 times 729, 2,916 pies divided by 3. Again, we're going to save the pies till the end. It makes our life easier. Take that number, divide it by 3. 972 pies. Remember, one day when you're all grown up and you're a big kid over in the high school, they're going to ask for an answer in terms of pi. That would be your answer in terms of pi. If they ask you to round it, then you multiply it by pi. Times pi. There you go. To the nearest whole, that 3 becomes a 4. So 3,054 inches cubed. That's it. The only hard part about this, well, there's 2 parts that students get wrong. One, they don't know the formula. That's a big problem. If you don't know the formula, you're going to get it wrong. The second one, and this happens all the time, I've even found myself making this mistake a bunch just because out of habit, we're used to pi times radius squared. We've practiced that so many times. With volume, it's pi times the radius cubed, not pi times the radius squared.